Hi, my name is Cornelius Claudio Kreusch, pianist, producer and CEO of MUSICJUSTMUSIC, a 360 music and media company. We started this channel to bring you in-depth conversations, roundtables and presentations from inspiring personalities from the music space. We are growing this channel from the ground up, so please like it, please share it, and please hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when there's new content available. Music is as important as the air we breathe, is as important as the water we drink, is as important as the earth we cultivate. So let's cultivate our senses. It's all about the music. Enjoy the show. Thank you and good vibes. CCK.
Herzlich willkommen. Mein Name ist Tom R. Schulz. Ich sitze hier zusammen mit Cornelius Claudio Kreusch und Johannes Tonio Kreusch im Studio live und uns zugeschaltet ist Anthony Cox aus Minneapolis. Und wir sprechen über ein Album, das im vergangenen Jahr schon erschienen ist, aber natürlich wegen Corona und Covid nicht so besonders viel Aufmerksamkeit bekommen hat. Und das ist eine Schande, wie ich sagen möchte. Es ist dieses Album hier, GESTALT, was die drei zusammen aufgenommen haben. Und wir werden natürlich mit Anthony Englisch reden. Und insofern bitte nicht wundern, wenn wir jetzt einfach die Sprache wechseln und von fortan auf Englisch reden. So, Anthony, this was the short German introduction. And of course, I should say maybe a few words about you, because you are such a wonderful bass player and have been so influential and powerful a person and a musical figure in the jazz world in the last 3 decades at least. Maybe it was four decades probably. And you have played with such a variety of people. And what first comes to my mind when I think about you is this, I shall say, this motherfucker kind of a sound that you've got. You know, this full-bodied, wonderful, warm bass that really carries everything else. So I always felt like anybody who has you in the band can go home, because you will hold them. You know, you will carry them like on a silver plate, so to speak. And these two guys, they have been recording with you with piano and acoustic guitar, and I know from your website actually that the recording took place a while ago, and I just wonder how this came about. Why would you record with these wonderful two crazy brothers?
Well, first of all, I've known Cornelius.
93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the 20th century.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got to know each other, and he actually was here. He stayed with me. We did a duo concert, and I recorded his album, Black Mud Sound. And then I met Johannes later, and I did some tours with different configurations as a trio with Cornelius. It was like once with Will Calhoun, the drummer, and also Marvin Smitty Smith. And, we just established, first of all, a friendship, really great friendship. And then of course, a musical relationship. And just over time, we discussed, and I participated in different projects with Cornelius in Europe. And I've always enjoyed playing with him, and also with Johannes. Now, well, that was the other thing too, is that I always stressed that I'd like to do something with Johannes also. And so I had, you might have to help me if I don't have remember everything in the correct order, but I remember also when Cornelius, he had a place in New York, and then I met Johannes there, and I heard Johannes play, and he was I think he was finishing up at Juilliard, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, great musician, and I think that I was in my mind, and this is like years now, really over decades,
Yeah.
where I said, okay, somehow we can collaborate and do something, combine all our different points of view, and that's the culmination of it. And actually, I talked with Cornelius earlier today, and I said, I said how it would be interesting if the next time we get together, because really this is a few years now since we made this album, recorded this. So anyway, that's why, because I was interested in the combination of sounds, and I was interested in the concept, and interested in being able to maybe further it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we were held back because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we do it today, and of course we hope that you will be coming back to Europe and that maybe this configuration can also play live,
Yeah.
But Cornelius, how do you recall the recording process? Where did you do it, and was it completely improvised, everything, or did you work in sheets before? How did you proceed?
I mean, to recapitulate also the history again. Yes, from New York, where Anthony heard Johannes, and obviously we worked together, to some concerts where Will Calhoun, remember Anthony, and even he came on as a special guest, and then we did a concert with Klaus Doldinger in Ottobrunn, and the next day we were supposed to hold workshops, and Will Calhoun didn't show up. He had a date. And we started playing together because we were on stage.
The
three of us. And all of a sudden, this magic happened. And at some point we stopped, and Andy would go to me, "I told you." And then it was just a matter of literally Anthony taking the initiative to say, "I'm going to book a flight. Tell me when it's good for you guys, when you can get your studio ready and your engineer." And that's what we did. We had literally 2 to 4 hour sessions, depending on how much we had to set up. It was a little complicated situation in terms of setting it up, because these instruments are so different. You have the massive grand piano, Steinway D concert grand piano with 88 keys and so many strings, Then you got the very delicate acoustic guitar, and then Anthony's bass, which was actually the electric bass and the acoustic bass guitar, which had such each of them a string instrument, but so different in sound, in sound quality, in attack and all this. So we had very big trouble at the beginning to find a balance in terms of recording it. But then we had originally talked about, like, should we do tunes, should we do certain phrases that each one brings, or ideas about shapes and structures and forms, or should we just go for it? And that's what ended up happening. We just went for it, and we just improvised. And then afterwards, maybe a little similar to the process that Tio Macero applied in Bitches Brew, we edited out the best places and created our canvas in this later stage to its final work.
And it has its own very sweet flow now, this sequence of tunes that you've been choosing to place part to part.
Yeah.
Johannes, how was it for you? I mean, we know how modest you are, and you would always say, I'm not an improvising musician at all, but you were kind of forced to improvise, even though much of it maybe is modal and it's easier to improvise if it's not about chord changes and all that stuff, but still playing with this seasoned master of improvised music and your dear brother, how did that feel for you? I mean, were you secure? Were you terribly insecure? And this brought out the best in you? What was it?
Of course, it was challenging because I knew who Anthony is, and I knew the band with Cornelius, and it's such a strong energy and a strong musical heritage they both worked on, and I felt, oh, will this be possible? But since Anthony said, we knew each other since years, and I got to know Anthony and his playing, and I always had the feeling that Anthony is this kind of musician who has this inner ear, this incredible possibility to listen and to feel where you are, where you stand as a musician, and that made me saying yes, let's try it, let's do it. And Cornelius, as my producer, also is always challenging me, saying let's do it. And first, often I say and then he said let's do it, and then okay, let's just try it. And it was great when Anthony said I will come to Munich. I think he said, "Hey guys, I booked the flight," and we said, "Okay, great, let's just do it." And we had one rehearsal, and then we decided let's go for it. Let's try it. We worked first on a tune or sheet, but then we decided no, let's just listen to each other. Let's play. Let's just make music.
In a way, it's a very intuitive approach, I find, and it's only possible because all of you first of all play with your ears. So really being very attentive on what's happening with the others. I wonder, Anthony, what made you choose not to play on the double bass but on the acoustic bass guitar instead and the electric bass? Was it just a logistic reason because you didn't want to bring your own instrument and you didn't want to play on another one, or was it a conscious choice because it would meld better with the acoustic guitar?
It was a conscious choice. I thought it would be interesting to with classical guitar, acoustic guitar, and piano, and I have these my own little theories, of timbre, so I have this thing about like I like the electric bass can sound very good with the piano, and the acoustic bass guitar is relatively new instrument that's been explored by certain people, and I knew that would work very nice with Johannes's guitar, and so and also there was a thing of at the time I thought, well, upright, I wanted to challenge myself, actually. I wanted to try something different, and it's kind of like I knew that might send it in a certain direction if I played it. Later, let's see, maybe like last year I was saying like maybe the next time I'll play upright bass, But it was just at that time I wanted to experiment with these different timbres,
And it's a fretted one, right? The acoustic bass guitar you were playing on. So also this maybe matched better with the acoustic guitar and.
Yeah, I thought so. And there's something about I don't know, visually in my mind's eye, as I say, sometimes sounds just kind of do this together, and they complement, and that's how I thought of it. I think it's like my inner orchestrator. I might add too, like there were things that Cornelius sent me that he and Johannes did, and I remember playing with them and transcribing them, and then I thought that's what they wanted to do, for the recording, and then he said, "No, I don't want to do."
I would
So a
never
lot of
tell you
work
what
for
to
no.
do. I would never write a single note for you.
so
Is that?
I was like, okay, like that, play along. I go, boy, this is okay, all right, yeah, this will work. And then when I get there, you go, oh, I didn't know. That was just an idea we had.
But it's interesting because you are a composer yourself. Maybe you have done it this way. You would have sent parts to the musicians you've had the intention to play with.
I think I can, the three of us come from, well, well, we had discussions. I don't know how deep you want to go into it, but I remember we had
Deep.
you know, I
Deep talk.
said,
Remember Deep Talk? From the Black Mud Sound, Deep.
I asked, and this wasn't a value judgment. I asked Johannes. I said, when you see this, I mean, you know, do you relate to this like nomenclature? You know, like D minor 7, sharp 11. You know,
Sure.
or do you relate to this if I wrote it out, or does this? Do you relate to that at all in terms of playing over it?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What was
So-
his response?
So he said, "No, I don't look at, you know, and I understand, you know, most people that come from like the Western European tradition of classical, you know, don't
Read these abbreviations and
read that.
symbols.
You know, the only thing they might is if they're a harpsichordist or an organist and a figured bass. That's the closest would come to
Halbers.
it. But it's not the same thing, and I don't. That's neither. To me, that was neither. That was no value judgment. It was just so I could communicate.
Mhm.
That's all. And so from that, and then he had special tunings, and I'm trying to remember everything now. So excuse me. And so it's like I remember then going like, well, what are these tunings?
Exactly.
and then I listen and I go, okay. And sometimes I take my own personal notes, but that's where that was the starting point. It's communication, that's all. It's like language, just learning how to be able to talk. Because I don't have any value judgment on
Mm-hmm.
anything. That's one thing I hate when musicians kind of come from, you know, they think, well, I do this and this is the way, you know. Sometimes I think that's the biggest problem, like especially in jazz, you know. People will say like, well, it has to have some changes in it, or it has to have this. I don't feel that way, you know.
That's good.
Yeah. You know, I mean, because I just listen to so many different. I've just been. I guess I was like, when I started music, I was just like a natural scholar. I just, I checked out. You know, I'd listen to Paul Bley, or I'd listen to Cecil Taylor, or I'd listen to Ornette Coleman, or Charlie Parker, or Coltrane, or whatever, and I go, well, I know there's a difference. This is like even before I really knew anything about music, you know, but I knew there was a difference. And the deeper I got into music and playing, I started to look at music as language instead of some set form, some set, you know, especially in the language of jazz, you know.
Well, let me maybe add in terms of the tunings. For me, the tunings are, you know, we had periods in the history of music where there were so many different types of tunings, hundreds of different tunings.
Right.
And we have lost that variety. Like in a lot of other fields, we have lost variety. And I think gathering that variety again is very essential for the development of humankind in general. In terms of the tunings of Johannes, they're so specific. I think it becomes a language if you have the need to communicate with somebody else, because then you need a common ground. But prior to it being a language, it's Johannes' expression. It's
right.
his expression of sound.
The resonance that
yes,
the instrument
yes,
provides
yes.
with certain tunings.
And especially jazz players, many of them that came through the loft in New York City, they were fascinated by this type of variety and sound, and ultimately what comes out. So, and sometimes when we play, you know, we figure something out and then we want to go, and then we said, well, let's try something else maybe. And I said, wait, but I have to retune, I have to reset up. So it is an effort that he puts into it, and that concentrates us also when we play with Johannes to sort of play with that tuning, which I think, Anthony, I don't know if you agree, but for me it's exciting, it's challenging at times, and keeps us on the tip of our toes in terms of how much creativity can we get out of that set of sonic expression.
It's interesting because I was mentioning this modal thing, and I think you also create your own modes with your tunings. So it's like a mood. It's also like a different mood that you present with different tunings. Like in the Indian music, you would use different intervals and different tunings, and I think that's an interesting and beautiful addition to the language that you all speak.
Because let's say a chord symbol is the simplest reduction of the sonic expression that it represents.
It does, yeah.
But it really is only a reduction. It doesn't. It's not a formula that gives you everything that you can do with it.
Yeah.
Because everything that you can do with it is mostly outside of it, because that's where the magic happens.
Right. I agree, 100%. And then so it was, and the thing is that then the tunings that we may, like Cornelius and I may have labeled it in our minds, like, well, that's what this is to us in a quick interpretation, but still it's how we react to the overtones that were produced from what Johannes played, basically.
Yeah, you said that you asked myself, what are you doing with the tuning? Sometimes I don't know it when I start detune the guitar, and I just try and find possibilities and check out the possibilities of different sounds on the guitar, because sometimes I have the feeling classical guitar sometimes it's a bit limited, so I try to find other possibilities, like creating overtones, I'm also using on this recording some preparations, like a pen in between the strings, and yeah, I found it fascinating how you guys reacted to my ideas, and we just had a few words during the recording, which was like, I don't know whether it was Anthony or Cornelius saying, now let's just imagine a tango, and then and then we had this rhythm and started to play, and yeah, what fascinates me most is this sound combination of bass, piano, and guitar, which is not really something you think of when you say you have a trio. And I mean, you experimented a lot with different kind of trio settings, like in the past, which I loved also from the sound. But this combination, I feel is three individualists are getting together, creating a unique sound, and which I love.
I agree. I mean, it was a process. It's not like we knew exactly what we were going to do either. We got there, and it was kind of like, well, kind of like that, and then we just got to work.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. I enjoy, that kind of openness, and kind of like, let's get to work and experiment and see what works, instead of we didn't come in there with set compositions, which I thought about bringing, but I knew better. I said that.
Yeah, thus opening like a new, different sound world altogether. But I'm curious, Anthony, you said in the beginning, if we would do it again, I think we would do some things differently. That sounds almost as if you had a little plan already, for in case you should get together again. And I wonder, what would be the new or the different approach that you have in mind?
Well, I think I would bring what I don't. How do I say this? I was thinking more of the upright bass, probably more arco and more of just the sonic, the sonic possibilities with the bow.
Giving it a new angle towards chamber music, kind of.
Let's say, I mean, lately, I think in the last 4 years, I've put a lot of effort more. I've always enjoyed playing with the bow, but I've been really concentrated on it, and I'm still working on it. There's certain people I have to say, like a lot of the classical basses, the attack and the appeals to me, and I know that would really I would be able to realize a different sound, and like with the three of us. And not that I just would do that, but I mean, it's just might focus more on the upright bass.
And would you also go more into the overtone playing that's so beautifully possible being done with the bow?
Yeah, just and of course, like a lot of the techniques, that have been used, like more the 20th century,
cool,
contemporary bass techniques, that exist, in terms of like even just hitting the body. I mean, this is, I mean, I actually feel kind of funny talking about it, like hitting the body or being like cello, or just all kinds of textures, I think that was on my mind,
What do the brothers say about this idea?
I think what's going to happen is we're gonna be putting plans together, putting sketches back and forth, writing down, putting it back, doing all kinds of preparations, even distributing the sheets before we get going, and then
letting it all go.
Let's just play and see what happens, and then distill it later and see out of the 2, 3, 4 hours recorded music what is really the nuggets to keep.
I think the strength was more, our strength is like the more just total improvisation. I just think that there was magic there when we play it that way. And
exploring new sonic realms where you surprise yourself and each other. Go ahead.
And maybe for 1 or 2 tunes, we'll invite another person inside the mix to add a new spice.
Sure.
A new sound, new instrument, as a special guest,
That's another thing too. Yeah, because we thought of. I remember this too. We were always trying to think of percussionists, but it's never materialized. But I think the trio is like the nexus. It's like the real
core.
Yeah. I remember, Anthony, when you discussed this recording before, we or Cornelius was saying let's get this musician, and you said was but let's do the trio.
Also, the classical musician has a different treatment of time. They do much more stop and go, let's say, or play with the time and prolong things, shorten things. And the jazz musicians in general, let's say, for most occasions, you have a steady beat. And once you invite a percussionist or a drummer, the danger is there that it just involves in creating a beat. And I think the beauty here is that the tempo, not being bound to a tempo, allows us to go from one place to the other much quicker. Unless we find a percussionist that
Goes with
brings sound rather than pure rhythm into the equation.
I love how specific we are about the qualities of instruments. How about what would be the thing that appeals to you in terms of adding a percussionist, male or female, to the group? Would it be more the sonic qualities, again opening up the space, or would it be more like the rhythmic thrust that would be given by a percussion?
I think it would be somebody that have the sonic qualities to be able to kind of and be varied too, not just play one type of percussion thing,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But just the texture, you know.
Yeah.
We talked about Arto,
Yeah. Well,
I have
yeah,
to-
and I go
Tupoyacin.
with him too. I played with him years ago, a long time. So there's that. That's an idea. That would,
And obviously a dream would be Trilog.
yeah. Trelock too.
And Trilog lives in Germany. I mean, that's
I know.
close to Hamburg, by the way.
There's a young woman here too. That's tabla and percussionist, and
Wonderful.
she's studied. And I just recorded with her recently.
What's her name?
Her name is Chrissy Bergmark.
Cool.
And
But
So-
also, anybody listening to this interview, watching this interview, and knows the Gestalt recording, maybe can write an email to info@musicjustmusic.com and reaches me, and we'll share.
Sure.
Share it. You never know what comes out of
Yeah.
connecting with the World Wide Web.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, and you know, really, it's funny because I mean, we have three of us haven't talked, you know, since the COVID thing. It just kind of like, you know, erased everything. So we haven't really had a chance to even discuss anything like that, you know. So it's good that you brought that.
Yeah, I think it's a very creative conversation in that respect. You know,
But I,
that you
I don't
keep
think. Yeah, I don't think there was anything erased. It is what this is.
Postponed in a way.
This whole thing put such a wie sagt man Schlucht.
an
board,
abyss between.
an abyss between back then and now, and everybody had to just get the speed and jump. And the moment of jumping and not knowing, but hoping you will arrive safely on the other side, that's what happened in between. Everybody had to concentrate on their life forces, getting things together. These energies never stop. I mean, we pick up within minutes. Within minutes, we are at the same level of depth in conversation, in energy exchange,
non-verbal.
Yeah. That I don't think there's anything ever going to be erased.
So
Period.
nothing is really lost, Anthony.
No, we add, and we manage our memories, and we distill from the memories what is the best path forward while still being adventurous.
Mm-hmm. That's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good
Also,
word.
I think that the COVID, you know, the pandemic, I know for myself, I think it allowed for me as a musician to rethink how to put this music out there. I think that in a lot of ways, musicians have been put in this kind of position to, they think, you know, they have to constantly produce, kind of like almost like on a hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of equalized everything. And I think that certain musicians are realizing like they can kind of renegotiate the way how they place themselves in their art. Because I think people have been so conditioned by just the economic system of trying, you whatever it may be, like, oh, it's festival season, this, blah, 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 tour, we have to do that, I have to do this, I have to do that, and I think somehow it's caused people to have to sit back and think, and
Giving that what they do more value or more attention and more consciousness, probably.
yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, that's an optimistic outlook into the future. If musicians and artists in general will be able to maintain this quality of cherishing more what they have and really being careful with it in a way.
Well, we as improvising musicians and improvisers, and Johannes is an improviser. This record proves it. Period. We have the best tools to manage anything, because we know if this note doesn't fit, we'll try a half step up or a half step below, and most certainly one of those two options will fit. And it's the same with taking a path in your life. If the one where you're on right now is not the right one, maybe just a step to the left or to the right will lead you to the right path that gives you at least the means to go forward, because that's what it's all about. It just moving, keeping everything in movement. That is what it's all about. And I think we are ready to do it, and I'm so glad we had the chance to reconnect, Anthony.
Absolutely.
Everything comes back up from the first card you sent me, Art Blakey card that is still hold dear in my memory. And where he said, "I look forward to playing with you," to the very first concert in Germany, where we were taking a leak in the break and next to each other, and you asked me, "Do you feel alright?" Making sure that I feel alright. And I was like, "Wow, he cares about everybody in the band, and it's not just on the right for whatever reason." And everything comes up to the. We mentioned we forgot one very intense trio, although we played a little less, with Anthony and Terry and Carrington. Literally, I mean, if you think about it, these rhythm sections, in all these things come up, over decades now, and I'm very glad to publicly confess you're my favorite acoustic bass player. You're my favorite creative jazz musician. New records, Factor Faces, and dark metals are one of the best in the genre. And I'm just so happy that you took me into your house, that you stayed at mine, you stayed at Johannes' house. We are family, and that's why nothing can ever be erased. We are family.
Yeah.
So that's very wonderful. I'm very happy that we have had the opportunity to talk to you and with you, Anthony, and I think we are good now for the audience. So thank you very, very much for being with us.
Thank you. This is great. That's great. We can talk forever.
And with maybe a little postscriptum, we have something going in terms of communication that is we create our own language. It stems mostly from Anthony's way of saying German sounding words, and we have a scale. We weigh them as good or bad, and those levels on either side of the equation have a name also, like the plus and minus. The plus is gestarken, and the minus is gestang. So, gestarken, Anthony.
Yes.
So we're
This
way
was
more on the
perfect.
gestarken side here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hope to see you soon.
Much love.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Ja, ganz herzlichen Dank fürs Zuschauen, bei diesem Gespräch, das wirklich ein sehr kreatives und liebevolles Gespräch war und ein sehr warmherziges und zukunftsgewandtes. Obgleich wir über ein Album reden, das vor einigen Jahren aufgenommen wurde. Und das hat nichts von seiner Aktualität verloren. Und auch dieses Trio hat nichts von seiner Aktualität verloren. Im Gegenteil, es hat sehr viel Zukunftsmusik in sich. Dankeschön.
If you liked our show today, please consider making a donation so we can create more content like this and expand even further. Thank you very much. Good vibes, CCK.